Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Quests and Inquests. I am your host, Jeremy Kopic. This is my co-host, Aaron Sanders.
Okay, really quick, what are you doing?
I'm doing an introduction.
That is no. That is
the
not
intro.
our DNA.
I'm just trying to be more professional, okay?
You know what you're doing?
No.
You are shelling out to the corporate entities that want our podcast to be this just cleaned up and corporate sounding garbage. That is hogwash. I don't want any of that.
It's important to me that you know
what
that
up,
no
y'all?
Corporation
It's our new
knows
episode.
who we are.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I don't have a single dime in my bank account from a corporate.
We got some views, though. We got some views.
We do, but that doesn't mean we have money.
It basically means we're on the way, you know? So.
I really just don't think that's the case. But I don't know. Would we ever make any concessions to monetize? Like,
oh, 100%. Show me those Benjamins, baby. That's all I want, you know?
No, that's valid. It's valid. Just a little bit, though. Just a scope.
I'm not going to shill out for
listen.
just anything, right?
Peanut Gallery, we will not change the DNA of who we are. Do not worry. You are stuck with how we are.
And in this precious podcast that we're sure you listen to religiously.
Religiously. Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. I don't know. There would obviously be some things I wouldn't advertise. But yeah, sure, I'd throw an advertisement in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Listen, this week's episode is sponsored by my mom. All right.
Shout out to Dana.
Me. Yeah, shout out to Dana. She feeds me. She loves me unconditionally, even though I am sometimes a butthead. And also, pays for my Wi-Fi that I'm using right now.
And that's what we like to call revenue. All right.
That is revenue.
What you got this week?
Yeah, so I've been a little bit of an introduction to why I've been thinking about this. I was talking with somebody on a job site, and he believes that nothing exists and that we basically, the only thing that we have is awareness. And I'm just kind of, and he's like, our truth is whatever. And it was so unconcrete and so paradoxical. And that was part of the belief, was that it was paradoxical. And I don't know, I'm kind of sitting here and I'm coming to the conclusion, because I'm I like to ask questions, and I like to consider, and I like to think, listen, humans believe what they believe for a reason. And so let's at least ask genuine questions. And I'm sitting here and I'm coming to the conclusion, like, I don't like this, at the very least, because there's nothing concrete in it. Mm-hmm. There's nothing for me to nail down, except that nothing is able to be nailed down. And it's like, that's the only truth that we have. And I don't vibe with that. I need something that can be nailed down. I need objectivity. And so, but it's gotten me thinking, and I've thought about asking you this for a while. Is truth relative?
No.
All right. Okay.
Dun 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 dun. There's the podcast.
Boom. We're done. Bye, guys. It would be fun if we just did that. We won't, I think, ever do that. But no. But here's the thing. Okay. You have different people that do different things, and they do it well. Okay, so because we're nerds and theologians, very bad theologians, but still theologians. I'm going to put it in theological terms. I have Baptists that I respect. I have Presbyterians that I respect. I have Pentecostals that I respect, and I think all of them worship Jesus genuinely, and they worship him well.
Yep.
But they do it different.
Yes.
In fact, I know Baptists, since that's the circle I've run in most of my life, that they worship different.
Yes.
And they worship well. And so, is it correct? Is it true? Is there a correct, like, nailed down form of worship? I don't think there is. And so some people would say, oh, well, that's relative then. Like, the best way for me to worship isn't the best way for you to worship.
You're going to step on some toes here.
Yes, I am. And that's okay. Some of us were built different. And I think because of that, we worship different. And that's okay.
Yeah.
We've already talked about how I think we should learn to worship other ways, because we should get outside of our bubble that we're comfortable with. But that's just an example. So, because people say, well, this is my truth. You know, what's true for me isn't necessarily true for you. You know, I can't watch certain movies because it's true for me that if I listen to that language all day, eventually it would come out of my mouth, because that's just the way I am. I say what I listen to. But that may not be true for you. You know, you may be fine and say, no, I can watch whatever, and it doesn't impact me. And you know, I don't know if that's where we stand on the movie issue, but like, as an example, your truth, what's true for you is not necessarily true for me.
Okay.
So is truth relative?
No, because you're working with different completely different scenarios, completely different circumstances, and it's truth applied differently, sure.
Oh.
And I think it would be extremely wooden. I love that word. It's a good word. It would be wooden to assume that existence is just a bunch of set of rules that everyone has to follow the same way. I think that would be wooden to assume of God. I think he created people with differences. I think he is powerful and creative and good enough such to create people who are different. If he didn't, we'd just be a bunch of robots, right? I mean, I think if you hold a strictly rigid view of objective truth, I don't think that that's reasonable. That doesn't pass the sniff test in life, right? You can't. It just doesn't work that way. That does not mean the same thing as truth is relative. Those are not equal claims, okay? Because let's do this. You. I think this is an okay analogy. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see.
Are legally bound to wearing clothes in Walmart, okay?
Correct.
Now, what kind of clothes are you going to wear? What kind of clothes must you wear? Well, the answer is going to be different. You get a lawyer who just got off work and he needs to run by Walmart and grab some pancake mix for breakfast the next morning. He might be wearing nice slacks, dress shoes, and a button-up. Whereas we've got Jim Bob walking in with his overalls, and then you've got the lady down the street who woke up at 4 p.m. and she's there in her pajamas, right? But they're all wearing clothes. They're all adhering to a standard that is objective and universal, insofar as Walmart is objective and universal.
Yeah.
But they are not all required to follow the rule in the same exact way. But they are all following the rule, albeit I think some in better ways than others.
Sure.
I think the same thing goes for a lot of let's view it this way. The theological truth is the standard of you got to wear clothes in Walmart. The application is what kind of clothes are you going to wear. The theological truth is that God has given us the gift of music as one of the ways in which to worship him. How then should we use that music? What kind of clothes are we going to put on when we go to Walmart? Are there better ones than others? Certainly. But I don't think it's as rigid as some people try to make it. I don't think I don't think you've got to say, I have to wear a suit to Walmart. Go for it. You look great.
Yeah,
You know?
have fun.
But I personally, it's pretty warm here. And culturally speaking, I like to wear shorts, sandals, and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Putting that onto worship, it's like, okay, some churches have the organs and the pianos and the beautiful choir and it's awesome. Okay, that's your suit and tie. Some churches have a guy up there with a guitar and a couple people singing, and you might have a little drum set. There's your sandals and flip-flops. Are the sandals and flip-flops indecent? No, they're not formal. No. But they're not indecent. You can still go to Walmart. Can you objectively say that the suit is better? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't think so. Now, can you go too far? Yes. I won't bring up all the scenarios in which you could go too far in the casual sense to Walmart. Okay.
Yes.
We've all seen it, right? In Walmart.
Yep.
And that, I would say, is when you've got people on trapezes flying through the auditorium and a smoke show and all this stuff. I'm like, it feels like a little bit much, right?
Well, at that point, you're not. I think we've crossed the line, and we've said this is no longer worship. This is about
production.
Us now.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, this is production, and so maybe, yeah, I just.
But I don't agree with the whole. I think there's a danger to the formality in worship becoming elitist and saying you low church people are a bunch of swine. Okay, how dare you worship God in the way that we don't agree with or that we don't prefer? I think there is some objectivity to that eventually. But I think there's a pretty wide spectrum in which the objective rule can be applied truthfully and well. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That's where I'd come down on it. As for your guy with nothing existing and all he can do is be aware of it, well, his awareness exists, and then presumably everything else does that he can be aware of. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That one doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but.
It doesn't to me either. It seemed to contradict, and it's kind of contradicting the reality, in my opinion, that he and I are sitting there talking.
Right. You would think that, well, is that reality, you know?
I know. And it's just, I don't know. No idea.
We're in the Matrix, man. We're in the Matrix.
No, he wouldn't even say that, because then that would mean that there's a big computer.
Oh, there's a bigger reality outside of this one, really messing up his view. Okay, cool.
Yeah. No, yeah, that doesn't work at all. I don't know, bro. I don't know. For that one, it also just comes down to, if that is true, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I even gave him Pascal's wager as to why he should consider the existence of God. And truthfully, talking to him, he doesn't want to consider God. That is the truth.
Yeah, that's what I kind of was going to say. It seems more like a heart problem than an actual, he's thought this through.
Is.
You know?
I think so. I think it is a heart problem. And he doesn't want to consider God, and he doesn't want to consider the Bible.
Yeah.
He claims to search for truth, but he has not considered all avenues of it.
Right.
And I pointed it out. And I said, look, bro, you're a smart guy. You've asked a lot of questions. But you've misrepresented me a couple times here in this already. And I said, look, I'm going to give you mercy, but anybody else would rip you apart for what you just said. I said, so at the very least, you need to understand what I say.
Yeah. Even if you don't believe it, right?
Yeah. So you can refute me. And so I gave him John and Proverbs. I said, listen, I can condense the Bible down. It's wisdom. I can condense it very briefly into 2 books, maybe. I said it's John and Proverbs. And listen, you're giving me a face right now, and everyone that's listening is also giving me the face. You're correct. Okay, you're right. All right.
Insofar, you're talking about just as an evangelism standpoint. Yeah.
Well, frankly, just so you can understand the story of the Bible,
Yeah.
I think,
That's fair.
And
John.
he was coming at it from a philosophical point of view, and so I gave him Proverbs too. And so look, I know. Okay, what I did was I left out a ton, but also listen, guys, I'm trying to get this kid. All I need him to do is just be exposed to the truth, and that was it. Okay, that is all right. John was written so that you might believe. All right, and so if we have an unbeliever and they're a little bit curious about this whole Christianity thing, then they need to read John. That's just objective.
Yep.
I think John is the place to start. My favorite gospel is Mark. Personally, I love the book of Mark. I think it is a very to the point picture of who Jesus was, and how hard of a worker he was, and how he sacrificed. And frankly, like, sacrifice is something that I feel very strongly about, but it's also something I struggle with. I struggle to put something down that I have the right to have, and that I have the right to own. But it was pointed out to me recently how Jesus put aside his garment when he took up the towel to wash their feet. That garment was his. And what it represented, him being the rabbi in the room, he took it and he put it aside. He took aside what he rightfully, by the way, he's the only person that rightfully had anything.
Yeah.
Really.
No.
And he put it aside and put on a towel and washed their feet. And it's like, man, that's insane. And so to see his sacrifice, and then I won't put something down for my own, like this, just that I personally enjoy or whatever. I don't know. I felt convicted lately, and I've just thought I just need to practice putting stuff down. There are moments where I'm not going to put something down, and I'm going to stand there and be like, this is actually deeper than me just giving up something. But you know what? Truthfully, I love Mark because of that. I've rabbit trailed on Mark, and I'm sorry. Actually, no, I'm not. Everybody, go read the book of Mark. This is your homework. Okay? It's so good.
Yes, Mark is good. I'll say John is my favorite, but Mark is good. Very good. I do want to go back to your question, though. So, like...
Yep, please take us back. Thank you.
You brought that up, and you specifically related it to worship, right?
Yeah, that was the example that I thought
Yes, example. Yeah. But... my answer was basically, yes, it's objective, but there's a lot of room there, right?
Yeah.
What are the areas in which there is not as much room? And what do you do with that?
Yeah, so we can take some theological terms that we are familiar with and apply them. Primary, secondary, and tertiary. Okay? So Aaron, please explain
say first, second, gallery. Third. Yeah.
Yeah, like what would you categorize that as? A primary issue.
So primary is like vital. Okay, you have to have this. Secondary is secondary. It's things that are important enough that you would create distinctions between people you worship alongside. That like not like a one-off, but like I'm going to go to this church and do ministry here. And lead my family here. That is where you'd make distinctions over secondary issues. And third or tertiary you would you shouldn't make a big deal out of. You shouldn't say, oh, this church does this and this and this, but I don't agree with them on this thing. I'm not going to go there. If that's a tertiary issue, you really probably shouldn't let that factor in. If there's like a billion tertiary issues and like the church across town has everything else, right? Sure, whatever.
Sure.
All things being equal, but tertiary issues shouldn't get in the way there of who you worship with and where. So,
thank you.
Are you talking about examples of each of them, or
no? But okay, so with truth being, it's objective, but there's different applications.
Yes.
Or maybe that's what we'll say.
Not always, depending on the topic you're talking about. But
that's the thing. Not always. There are some things, there is no other application. There's just truth. And so, like, there's some things where it's like...
Well, the softball, the absolute easiest one to knock out of the park, right? It's like your first rank or your primary issue that is like, I will not even consider worshiping alongside of you or going to the same church as you, is if you don't agree that Jesus is God. And that's like,
Yep.
that's an example of
So
a first
primary.
rank issue that you can't.
Yep. Salvation by grace alone.
Right.
That is
So-
so primary, and there's
That
not,
isn't something that
there's
can
not
be
really,
applied in a different way. Like, oh, I think, yeah, Jesus is God, but just, God, it just doesn't really, that doesn't, I don't apply it really that way in my life. Like, well,
Oh, yeah.
that's not where truth can be applied in a subjective manner. I think
No, there's
truth
some
can be
things-
applied in a subjective manner often with tertiary stuff. I think worship is one of
yeah.
those things.
I agree.
I think a lot of people make worship into a secondary. I don't think it should be secondary. I think worship
Yeah.
is tertiary within certain boundaries.
Yep. But that's the thing, it's, I think a primary or secondary issue is because worship, like the method of worship is the tertiary issue.
Yes.
That we worship is a primary issue.
Yeah.
And so, like, if we're bringing glory to ourselves rather than giving glory to God, that is a primary issue. That is something that the Bible is very clear on. But that's also one where it's like, I can glorify God doing something.
Yeah, like you don't have to
And-
say it has to be music, right?
No.
And so there's a lot of
that's-
variability there. I think worship is one of the most variable, and I think that's why
Yeah.
there's so much heat around it, is because everybody has
Very
a different
much so.
opinion. We've kind of run. I like this term from a podcast I recently listened to. It's like we've kind of over church history exhausted some of the bigger issues to argue about within ourselves, and so now
Yeah.
we're arguing and bickering over tiny stuff like how many drums do you use. So it's like
Yeah.
I think that's become one of the things. Personally, I think that and alcohol and a couple other things that we've turned into these issues that just don't need to be issues.
Okay,
We've decided to die in these hills.
I'm gonna make a quick little. I'm gonna light a quick fire. I think Calvinism.
Oh,
I think
brother!
Yeah.
No.
Listen, I think for the most part, it is a tertiary issue. I really do, and here's why. It's primary that we obey God's command: go out, make disciples, and witness. That is primary.
Yes.
That we are telling people about Jesus. So if you fall into that category, there's a lot of people, because the Calvinism Arminianism spectrum is vast.
It is.
And so I think if you're somewhere in the middle, I really just don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I would say
If-
that's a good point. I think I would almost put it in secondary, depending on how it is
allow that.
represented. If
Yep,
it's like
yep,
we're a
depending.
hardcore 5-point tulip, the whole thing, I will not leave my family there.
Yep.
But if it's like soft, it's like something that's mentioned every once in a while, but we understand
Every once in a while.
everyone here has different beliefs and different opinions on this, and we're not going to make this a divisive issue. Like the church I go to is like that.
Yeah.
There is a specific view. It's not the Calvinist one, but there is a view that is preached. But there's an understanding, and it's not that's not made a majority issue. But there's an understanding that there's a lot of people here, and not everyone thinks the same thing about this. And so we're going to let it be, and still worship alongside each other. That's an environment in which it is a tertiary issue. But if it's we're going to make this a thing.
But that,
Well, let's go. Let's say like, okay, so the Reformed, right?
Yeah.
So like a tradition that, sorry, I'm losing the word, a confessionally Reformed church that says we're making the London Baptist and the Westminster our thing, right?
yeah.
That's a different deal, right? Than some of us believe it and some of us don't. That's where I might elevate it to secondary. But we're getting
Yeah,
into
it
the
would go
weeds. We're
secondary.
getting into the weeds. But it's
Big time weeds there. But then I think the secondary issue in question could be how divisive are we about some of this stuff? Because I don't want to go to a church that's always like, we are this or we are not this, if it's something that really just doesn't matter. Like,
Sure.
because I don't know, we were called to love the brothers, and truthfully, the people in the local Reformed church are my brothers in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And I refuse to go to war with them. All right,
Yeah, I'm going to say you should go to war. That's different than not attending church alongside.
But like I won't attend church with them probably, but what I will do is I will fellowship with them.
Sure.
I really will. And
Sure.
and I don't know, if I have someone in my church and they say, "Yeah, I'm Reformed," and we're not making a big deal about it,
Cool.
I don't have a problem with that. I think that's great. Awesome.
Now, if that
I'd
person
love to
then
talk about it sometime.
becomes a teacher and starts touting it
Yeah,
and
if
as
they're
their thing.
beating that drum, if
Then
they're
it's
beating
like,
a
hey,
drum
let's
that
talk
Jesus
about it.
didn't beat, like Jesus beat a couple drums pretty loud,
Mm-hmm.
and we should focus a lot on those drums. I'm not saying, listen, I think we should have more theology classes in our churches. Okay, I think that we have neglected big time church history. I think we have neglected the people that came before us. I think that we have neglected explaining theology. Okay? I think we have. And so I would like more classes on, I would like a church history class that we do every couple of years. I think that'd be wonderful. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, guys, if you all know, like, okay, if we go to this teacher's class, we're going to get Calvinism in some way. Like, it shouldn't be coming up every other week. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, like, there are things that actually come up every week.
Mm-hmm.
The love of Jesus, hatred of sin, how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's stuff that we should talk about quite often because it's stuff that actual real people are dealing with. Like, not everybody, believe it or not everybody is as nerdy and cares, all right, about these theological issues.
Yeah.
They don't. And guess what? It's okay. I don't think that's an excuse for us not to talk about it at all. I think it is something we should talk about. It just isn't something that we major on. We major on what Jesus majored on.
Right. No, I like that. And I think sometimes, no matter, take it past Calvinism, no matter your theological ilk that you are a part of, I think we all run into those temptations of, I'm going to make this my thing, right?
Yeah, hobby horse.
And then it's hard to get out of that.
Yep.
Because it's fun. I'm going to
so
put my
fun.
foot down here. You're over there. Let's yell at each other and throw a few sticks.
So much fun.
But
I just want to.
So outside of theology, though, because we tend to always make it a theology podcast, we should really just rename this thing something theology, but because it always happens. Anyways,
I know.
I blame you entirely. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that my Christianity is in everything that I do. That's my bad.
But all right. Okay, get off your horse.
But hey, you take us away from theology. Go
I
ahead.
will gladly. I love theology. I just am not a theologian who believes that that's all there
Put the
is to
shovel
enjoy
down.
in life.
Put it down.
No, I will not put it down. God gave me more than theology to enjoy. Therefore, I will enjoy it. So there's some theology for you. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. So the claim that truth is relative and moral and objective, right? The not the claim, but the argument between that. Where else do you see that outside of, let's say, religion and theology? Can you even take it outside of there? Or what I'm asking you, is that inherently a moral and religious claim?
I think, well, I just, no, there's so many things that like are subjective. They're just,
Yes.
and like, what car I drive. I like my car.
True.
I would pick this car. And there are like important reasons, like, we all want a reliable car. We all want a car that gets us from point A to point B, and we want a car that's fairly comfortable. Okay, we do.
Mm-hmm.
And we also don't want a car that's, butt ugly. It just objectively. But I apply that different than you do.
Yes.
And a lot of that comes down to a couple things. It comes down to our needs.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to our budget. It comes down to our preference for how something looks. So the car is just, I'm not better than you because I drive a Ford and you drive a Toyota.
Yeah.
It's not the way. Now, some people, they do like, oh, but Toyota is objectively more reliable. Okay, that's true. Like, that's objectively true on as a general rule of thumb. But you know what? My Ford gets me places, and it's doing great. And so even with that objective truth, I have other truths that I would apply and say, yes, but I couldn't afford the Toyota that would do everything I needed it to do.
Sure.
And so, because of the truth of my budget, I made a different decision.
But can you see how
I needed
that's not subjective? That's just complexity. That's just variables, right?
And so I think, and like, okay, even though with like, you and I making different decisions, we do make it based on truths.
Yeah.
And so, and different truths, not contradictory truths, not relative truths, just truths that apply to you and other truths that apply to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there are wrong decisions.
Such as cutting your hair like Forrest Frank.
No, that, see,
So, for context.
you, that would be wrong because you have a weird shaped head.
Oh, okay.
But for me, that would be good because I don't think that there's any Greek blood in me, but I think I have the figure.
I
of
think
like
I've got a
Greek god.
responsibility to society and to those listening to this podcast to immediately dissuade you from thinking that you are a Greek demigod worthy of that sort of haircut. So, for context, Jeremy does have the Forrest Frank haircut.
What?
Verbatim, he asked his barber, "Give me the Forrest Frank haircut," which I think is awesome. I think it's really funny, and it actually it looks good.
Thank you.
Mostly,
but see, objectively, it looks better on me than it would on you.
I would look like an ape. Yeah.
Yeah, you would look a little bit strange.
It wouldn't work. It would.
No, you have different hair than I do.
I think I would frighten people.
You would, yeah. Your hair is like straight and
a little sad
and fine. Yeah, no, actually, I like your hair, and I think it pulls off haircuts that I can't pull off. But my hair is more curly and wavy, and so I can do more of this.
You darn relativist.
Yeah, my bad. My truth is relative. Boom. There you go.
Oh, dang it. We proved your coworker right.
Yes. So nothing exists, people.
Nothing exists.
You can change your existence by thinking hard enough.
And you know what? We got there through hair. So I kind of enjoy that. That's good.
No, yeah, for sure.
You know what? I just had this thought. Maybe this is a bad idea, but I think it'd be kind of fun. We should, as we kind of ramp down here, and this is a sidebar. This is not even close to what we've been talking about, okay?
Dang, okay.
I just had this thought, and I think it'd be fun to incorporate as a part of our podcast. And also kind of keep us accountable in a certain way. Is to say at the end of every podcast what we're currently reading.
Okay.
I think this
All
is
right.
good. I think this is. Sorry for the sidetrack. I just had the thought. And I was like,
No.
I don't want to forget
No,
this.
I like that. I will say, heads up for everybody, you're going to be disappointed in me because you're going to get the same book a couple times. Because I'm a slower reader, and with Aaron, he's going to be like, "Oh yeah, I read these 4 books, last night, and
No,
they were
quite.
about 400 pages a piece, and I learned a little bit. It was great. This guy had a
Okay,
terrible
can
theology.
we go away from the mockery for a second? That's crazy.
I'm not mocking. I admire you.
You just framed my voice in such a way to give the listener the impression, those that don't know me, right? To give them the impression that I don't know what you're trying to make me out to be. Something that
listen,
I'm not, though.
I apologize that that's what you heard. I think it was just
don't
FaceTime.
give me that.
I think that the FaceTime just, distorted that. I've nothing
I'll
but
distort
admiration.
you. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, fine. What are you reading right now?
So I am reading currently reading 2 books, but I'll stick with one because I know we'll talk about the other later.
Okay, yeah.
I'm reading The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring
Yes.
right now. Woo!
Yes.
It is very good. I read it about a decade ago, and I'm finally reading it again.
It's glorious.
It is glorious. It is good. I'm about halfway through. No, a little over half. I'm about 2/3. So I'll be done probably here in the next couple days, and then next time I'm sure I'll be reading The Twin Towers when The 2 Towers. Wait, what's it called? I can't remember.
Did you call it The Twin Towers?
I called The Twin Towers. Wait, what's it called?
The 2 Towers.
No. Well,
Who's gonna read The Twin Towers? That's
that was a genuine mistake.
well. All right.
So next time around, that was horrible. Okay.
Oh man, that was recorded and everything. That's
Was
so
recorded and
good.
everything. I'm ruined. Okay, well,
That
next
makes me
time
so happy.
I'll be reading The 2 Towers, written by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Another book written by J.R.R. Tolkien, his prophetic book called The Twin Towers, where he said a great calamity was going to happen to some stupid country across the pond.
Okay, you got it. All right.
So, ironically, I am also reading... No, calm down. I'm also reading
Sorry, I'm
a
back.
J.R.R. Tolkien book right now. I am reading The Silmarillion, which is basically the history book of the Lord of the Rings. I am reading it in preparation for starting Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, because you inspired me when you said you were going to start reading them. And so I wanted to, because I have time at work to just listen. I'm listening to this one on Audible, and I just wanted to refresh the world for me.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of obscure references in Lord of the Rings where they say one name and they just skirt by it. And it's in the Silmarillion. And so I wanted to understand better. I wanted to read it better. But truthfully, I'm reading this, and when I read Lord of the Rings, I'm going to enjoy the story. I'm just going to enjoy it, and I'm so excited about that. But Silmarillion, and my other book that I'm reading, I read it before bed, is called Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. And it is a very lighthearted book. It is not the same heaviness as Lord of the Rings, or frankly even any other Brandon Sanderson book that I've read. It's just a story, and you said it, he clearly enjoyed writing this. He's just had fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's such a good way for me to the chapters are short, it's an easy way for me to unwind at the end of my day, read a couple chapters. But it's a good story. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Is it one of those books that's going to be like, oh yeah, this is my top 5 favorite books of all time? No, it's not. But it 100% is going to go on my shelf, and it's going to sit there, and someone's going to say, man, I just don't know what to read. I've just gotten done with like this heavy theology book, and I'm like, here, right here. This is a good story, and it's easy. All right. And so I love it. And I'll read it again. And it's probably one of those that I'll read to my kids, honestly. Like, I feel like 100% I can read this to my kids. And so, so far at least, we're getting into some serious stuff with like the villain, but
I think it's good. From what I can remember, it's pretty lighthearted. So
yeah.
Okay, so just touching on the Silmarillion, there is some objective truth and evidence that you are a bigger nerd than I. Therefore, because you were reading that, so I just wanted to put that out there, really quick, just to kind of flesh out the whole thing with how you were portraying my voice and all that stuff. So, just really quick for the audience. There we go.
You know what? I'm not even mad about that. Okay, because I'm willing to pick up the heavy object that is the Silmarillion.
I read it when I was 12. Okay, get off my back.
I read once. Yeah, I've read it 3 or 4 times before this.
Sorry that I'm trying to branch out and read other literature. My bad, I guess.
I'm sorry that I'm enjoying the greatest story ever written by man. That's my bad. My bad.
Interesting.
All right. Yeah, we'll have a whole podcast about Tolkien if you want.
I would love to.
Maybe we'll do that.
Well, here's what I think we should do. I had this thought. When you're done reading Lord of the Rings, when we're both done reading Lord of the Rings, because I read Hobbit earlier this year. Well, I should say at the very end of last year. And then I'm reading through the Lord of the Rings right now. I think when we're both done, we should have a podcast talking about it.
I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, bad news though, it's going to be a while. It will be.
What's your estimate?
I
3
hope
months?
to be done by the end of the year.
Wow. All
right.
That's a long way away.
I'm going to branch out. In the meantime, I'm not going to only read
Lord
of the Rings.
Binge it? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I think we should do? Because to go along kind of with the book theme, because I want to talk more about books, because I love books. I know we both love books.
I know.
And I hope
we do.
To get other people
I've really tried to put that podcast off.
Love books
because I know it will be long.
Possible. Which one? Oh, the book podcast.
The book one.
Okay, yes. We will have that podcast, right? Our top 5 books or top 10, whatever.
Yep.
But in the meantime, I think, so Jeremy and I have this thing, and I actually owe you a Q2 book, I think.
Nice.
I don't think I've given you one for quarter 2, right?
Don't know.
I don't think so. I think I only give you one for Q1.
You keep track of this stuff.
Jeremy and I have this thing where we give each other a book that we think would be interesting to read every quarter. Now, have you actually read any of the books I've given you? Because I don't think I've read any of the books you've given me.
Yeah.
Well, no, I gave you Trust in the MLOT. That's my Q2 book. There we go.
I've skimmed a few because like some of them were more like one of the things you gave me is like a 25 book set, which was so cool. But like, it's one of those like general works kind of things.
So I think moving forward though. Okay, so here's what I've got recorded. You gave me a set of the Sermons of Spurgeon.
I did. Yeah.
So that's Q2. And then I gave you the Lightning Fast Field Guide to the Bible by Matt Whitman.
Which I've read some of that.
So good, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
But I think we should have a quarterly book episode.
Wow,
where we both read the same thing, though. That's the thing. I think it'd be fun. This would be a quest.
It would be a quest. We've had other quests.
Oh, Waffle House.
Some of them didn't.
True.
Yeah, Waffle House.
The other one didn't get posted. Yeah.
No, the other one didn't get posted because we started talking to a guy about fishing.
I don't remember his name.
I don't either, but he was awesome.
He was cool. But to your point, or to my point, I should say, we need to pick a book, and by the end of Q3, because we're about to start Q3 in July, by the end of Q3, we should read one book that's the same and talk about it. Our book club episode.
I will mention, we are reading a book. All right, I finished it.
We are reading a book.
Yeah,
we are.
And you're halfway through,
and no one knows about it.
I think that should be the book, and no one knows about it. Let's talk about that book. Okay. That book, we will have a full episode about it.
I'll be done by the next time we record. So maybe we'll just do that.
Maybe it'll be next.
Maybe
you're going to ask the next question. So there we go. Yay for that.
Okay.
Well, we rabbit trailed, but we did determine objectively, truth is not relative.
There we go.
So,
and I'm glad that we determined that and beat all the other thinkers and theologians of the past.
I'm going to add it to some of my philosophy books. All right, the chapter on truth and relativity.
When we discovered it.
Yep, I'm going to say, but Aaron and Jeremy say that y'all are absolute morons.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't be a very kind or Christ-like thing to do, but yes.
I will read it. I won't be sending it.
Oh,
to them.
okay, good.
It'll be okay.
Anyways, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. I think we covered quite a bit.
Agreed. I'm going to have to be going soon. I got stuff to do, but I love this.
Yes, this was good. This was good. Thank you for your question, and thanks for gaming it out. That was fun.
No, for sure.
We'll do it again soon.
Okay. Yep. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.